Hi, it's Paula here from Me, My Dogs and MS. I think I need to explain my journey to you so that you can understand where I come from. I'm 61 years old. When I was 16, I had one boil after another, after another. I've got scars on my legs from this, and I believe that I'd caught a virus and that's where it stems from. In 1985, I had double vision in one eye. I was working in a fuse factory at the time. We just bought a house, and I was staring at a screen all day, and that's when I noticed I had double vision in one eye, which is just the most bizarre thing. Anyway, went to the doctor, got it checked out, got referred to a specialist, and there we are. I just got on with my life. I rode motorbikes. I didn't get a car license until I was 26. I had a full bike license at 18 and everywhere on the motorbikes. We travelled all over Europe on the motorbikes. I did my nurse training. I had been a medic in the army, but I had no qualifications when I left the army. So I qualified to be a nurse. So that was challenging. And this was the time, we're talking the 80s here. I was one of the original Project 2000 nurses. And I had to learn how to use a computer. Oh my God, I didn't have computers at school. That was really challenging. So the first 6 months of my course was hard work. I took up scuba diving, and my husband's trained to be a scuba diver, a scuba diving instructor and a boat handler. So I became a scuba diver. And also I used to take the divers out on boats. I passed my RYA level 2 powerboating course, and yay! When we were on Portland and that, we used to have to run a bunkhouse every weekend. It was really busy and such fun because it was just people come down to enjoy themselves. So we were enjoying it with them. That was really good. There we are. So my diving career, I loved my diving. But it's really weird, actually. I'm going to tell you about my highlights and that. My 99th, 100th and 101 dive was on Thistlegorm in the Red Sea. We were on a liveaboard. Just awesome diving. I used to take photos. I've got some photos somewhere that I'll find out for you. And my round about the 200 dives, all around there, I was diving Scapa Flow up in the Orkney Isles. Just awesome. But kind of that was the pinnacle of my diving career, because my husband was diagnosed with cardiac problems after that. And so, that was okay, because he had no choice but to give up driving the boats and being a diving instructor. So I gave it up too, and it was fine. I didn't want to dive on my own. He was my diving buddy. We carried on and lived our life. I got a job after the prisons. I used to work for the military, the MOD, in Bovington in Dorset, and it's where the tank museum is, if anyone knows. Anyway, it's a really good tank museum. You should go there if you're ever down there. And so that was families and soldiers on deployment. Yeah, it was a fast, furious, and it was a busy environment. It was great fun. I used to drive my bike every day to work. From there, I became an offshore medic. I thought, oh, why not? You've got to do these things. One thing I must point out, if you get the opportunity to do something, do it, because then there's no regrets. I have no regrets in anything that I've done, and the things that I've gone for that I haven't got, they were never meant to be. That's how I see it anyway. So there we are, started my offshore medic career. Well, I worked 10 years, 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off in the North Sea. Fast, furious, and that. I was a good medic. I was, because I was able to go out there, take charge, and that was it. There was no messing about. And I'm sure all the people that come into contact with, because I come into contact with hundreds and hundreds of people offshore, I'm sure I hope they, I hope they look back and see their time that they've encountered me, you know, quite favourably, because, you know, I'm quite a smiley person. I was a bit of a startup queen, so I was really good. I was always in drilling. I don't know why I never went onto platforms. I never had the opportunity. It was always drilling, and that was kind of like on the cutting edge of, it was exploration. It was fun. It was fast. It was furious. We'd have 3, 4, 5 flights a week, more people coming on, coming off. It was busy, busy, busy. Anyway, then I kind of, on the rigs and that, then we had a huge shipyard phase on some rigs and that, and yeah, we were in shipyard for nearly a year on one of the rigs. That was excellent. Do you know what I mean? It was just busy, and from there, in being on a startup rig, do you know what I mean? In that, so you've got a whole new crews. You know, we had one rig that came over from the Norwegian waters, so all their chemicals were in Norwegian, so they needed transferring over to the English. You know, that was so much work, so much work. I worked really, really hard. I used to get onto a fly out to the rig, and I'd get there, I kind of reassess after we did the initial inductions for me coming on and etc. I'd assess what I needed to do, I had a plan, and that's what I'd accomplished by the end of my 3 weeks out there. Then I'd go home. And gradually, as the years come on, I used to have to take, I didn't have to have a day or two recovering at home. I needed a week, and then it got to 2 weeks. And I always remember one of my OEMs saying to me in that, oh, I knew it was you coming down the corridor. You just make a noise when you walk. And I did. Also, during this time, I had the menopause. Do you know what I mean? The thing that every woman go through and that. But the menopause, I put all my symptoms down to the menopause. My brain got it fuzzy. I'd go hot and I'd get cold. I'd get so tired. And I didn't feel me. I come off the rig early. I said, I'm not coming back, I've got MS. And oh, don't be so silly, don't be so silly. And that was the topside doctor. They said, oh, do you know what? They all laughed at me. But do you know what I mean? The last laugh was on them, really, I suppose. Because actually, I went to see the consultant. I'd had my MRIs. He said, bring someone with you. Took my husband. You've got MS. You've got multiple sclerosis. Oh. I think it was a bit of a relief, really, because me and my husband had talked about this, and I think it was confirming what I actually knew. You know, I'm a nurse, I'd looked into it and all that, and I couldn't make any head nor sense of anything else that it could be. So I got diagnosed with MS.